Welcome back to the coverage of YCS Bochum 2015, the second major event of the year and the largest one so far. 1,107 players showed up this morning. We're playing 8 rounds of Swiss today, 3 more rounds of Swiss tomorrow, and then we're going to cut it down to the top 32. So, in case you're not familiar with the Swiss system, if you're winning the first round, in the second round you're also going up against somebody who won their round, and so on. So, the later during the day, the more high profile the match is going to be.
Yes. More players are losing, dropping down in the rankings, meaning that the players that are really quite strong clash against each other.
Yeah. And speaking of players who are quite strong, we have one of the most accomplished players, Ali Fawaz. You might have just seen the interview that we ran in between rounds just a second ago. He has been playing for like more than 10 years already. Took a little break in between, like 3 or 4 years, serving in the military, coming back with a vengeance. First event that he's playing again was YCS Barcelona, and he advances to the top 8 straight away. Talk about a comeback. On the other side of the field, of the table, we're going to have Lukas Prinz, also from Germany, mostly known for playing zombies in the past.
Really?
He's been playing like at Fortune Tours, like almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, that was like quite a long time ago.
Yeah, 8 years ago, something like that. He played zombies, and then the following years, he always tried to make the deck work again, or play something else that is mostly creative.
I mean, zombies can still work at the moment. They have really strong fusion.
Yeah.
At the moment as well.
Although he's not playing zombies today, he's instead going with Tellarknights, a deck that we haven't seen this weekend. Speaking of decks, Nekroz #1 deck.
At the moment, yes.
We don't have the final numbers in, but we can expect that because the metagame should be quite similar compared to YCS Prague.
Well, we're currently in round 3, and so far we've had 1-1 for Nekroz.
Yeah, so the final verdict isn't in on that end.
Not quite yet.
And it's going to be an interesting ride in this round because Tellarknights, they have quite a few new tools. And the Star Seraph, of course. Interestingly enough, Lukas is also not running it, just like Merlin Schumacher, who we had in our first round feature match, who was playing Shadows, also did not go for the card that supposedly put both Tellarknights and Shadow back on the map.
Yeah.
But what do you make of that information?
Well, it's interesting. A lot of people are kind of turning around. A lot of the pro players, as you said earlier, are thinking that it's just going to be a fad at the moment.
Yeah.
And it can get clunky because you may not have both of the cards in your hand when you really need them.
It seems like that little bubble of Star Seraph is about to burst at this event.
Yeah,
at least from what we've heard so far, most of the pros are not sold on the idea. They say it's incredibly strong if you have both cards, but the lack of consistency, something to consider for your weekly tournaments, but not at a high-profile event like this one.
I wouldn't say, because it's still incredibly powerful.
Okay, so
like, Star Seraphs are very good. The problem is if you only have a Scepter in your hand, it's dead. So it's kind of a case of people wanting to remove dead cards.
All right. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the players. Let's take you to the table where both of these guys are already sitting down, ready to, well, I think they have already shook hands.
Yep, they're just rolling the dice there.
Yep. So we're good to go with our third feature match for the day, 3 out of 8. And yeah, they are both sitting on a 6-0 record,
yes.
like 6 points each, so they won their first 2 rounds, safely. So this is, I think the third round is like one of the most important ones in my opinion, because even if you lose after that round, a 3-1 record is quite okay. You're like still in the upper bracket.
Yeah.
Whereas a 2-1 might mean that you're suddenly ending up in that, well, interesting zone in the middle of the field where people tend to play those rogue decks.
Well, yeah, there is that.
All right.
A lot of one-turn kill decks and things like that, like battery men. And
so Lukas on the left-hand side, running Tellarknight, and Ali on the right-hand side, and there's the handshake. Ali indicates he wants to go first, if I'm reading the sign language correctly here. And you see Michael on the left-hand side behind Lukas, and Ryan on the right-hand side behind Ali. Those guys lightning fast entering the cards, so we can bring them up for you guys on the right-hand side of the screen. And Lukas seems to be happy with his hand. Like, lots of head nodding. And here we go. That's a Manchu. And there's a quote from some of these guys that tested together. Manchu turn 1 means chin lock. This is what I heard. Very interesting. Let's see if that's going to happen. Ali maybe going into overdrive right away.
He doesn't quite have the
setup for it.
No, not for a gin lock.
All right.
He does have for other things, however.
There's the kaleidoscope. I think he's immediately going for the kaleidoscope. Yeah, it's the Herald of the Arclight. Synchro Monster, you might be wondering, why is he playing a white card? He's only using it to send it to the graveyard as a material for the fusion summon. With the kaleidoscope, out comes Unicore, and the searching continues. And he can go for Lava Wall Chain, then send the Jin to the graveyard, and then go for the Jin.
Yeah.
If he wants to. So
he can do that there.
So he does have the setup.
Yeah. It just takes a little while for it to quite get there. Now, I stick by what I said in an earlier round, that Nekroz just uses its deck as its hand.
Oh, yes.
Definitely. Yes. It's like we have a period where your banished zone is your hand, and then we had a period where your graveyard was definitely your hand during like Dragon Ruler format and things like that, and now with the advent of Nekroz, your deck is your hand.
All right. In case somebody's not familiar with the chin lock, can you run us through it? Here we have the Lava Wall Chain that allows Ali to detach a material and send one card, any card, from his deck to his graveyard.
Yes, you can also put one on top of the deck. Now, what he's going to be able to do there, if you ritual summon using a Jin releaser of rituals, as long as that ritual monster stays face up, your opponent cannot special summon.
Yes, and that is in a way that says you don't play Yu-Gi-Oh!
Basically. Now, Nekroz, Mirror of the Nekroz, or Nekroz Mirror.
Nekroz Mirror, yes.
Yes, is able to play it whilst it's in the graveyard quite easily.
So, interesting opening for Ali, in my opinion. Very, very, very strong opening. And let's take a look at Lukas's hands. What does he have to combat that?
And there it is. Nekroz Cycle, banished.
The Jin release of rituals.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, this is where Satella falls down. He doesn't really have anything to stop this at the moment, because it's not going to be able to bring out its 3 monsters, it's not going to be able to bring out its Trivia, its Deltaros. It can't... Unukkal High isn't going to help right here.
What can Lukas draw into to help him fight that?
Raigeki. That would be nice.
And then he's got a Book of Moon, of course.
Yep.
And is that it? Looking over the deck list. There's a Ring of Destruction.
Yeah.
A card coming back with a different effect text than it used to have. Also, Lukas is running a Mirror Force. Very interesting. And so it is up to Lukas. He did draw. And we're going to have that card in a second. There you go. There's the Fiendish Chain. Also shuts down the Chinlock.
Does it?
Doesn't it? Why shouldn't it?
Because it's not the effect of the face-up monster that's negating summons.
Oh, so it's like the Jin is placing a condition and even...
onto the card. It doesn't give it the effect.
But why does a Book of Moon then work against
Because
it?
the monster's no longer face up.
Okay. Good
Resets
point.
it.
Good point.
You're then
All right. So, possibly no out for Lukas right here. It looks like a good opening at first with monster on the field, 4 back rows, but...
those back rows aren't doing really much at all. Fiendish Chain's going to stop something being hit. The search that's
a Lava Wall Chain search.
The search that's happening now isn't going to get stopped.
Yeah, he's just going to put that card on top of his deck, and then he's going to draw into it.
Yeah.
So Ali just... that Lava Wall Chain, so crucial, so powerful in that deck, allows him to get for the Chinlock in his first turn and then set up his follow-up plays for later on. Doesn't get much better than that. So Ali's just passing play. Lukas has a Tellarknight Vega,
Which he just has to set because he can't special summon anything.
yeah, so he's already standing with his back against the wall a little bit. And he's waiting for that Raigeki or Book of Moon, I guess. Or are we... or, well, the Ring of Destruction. All right. And back to Ali, who now drew into the Manju of the 10,000 hands.
Now there is a crush card set, which is going to get rid of anything that's going to come to hand.
You mean the Mind Crush?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, no reason for Lukas to stop anything here. There is the Mind Crush. And this card became like stronger and stronger over the years, with more and more searching going on.
Yep. It's definitely one of the cards to run against Nekroz.
All right. So Ali's got the Mystical Space Typhoon to stop any of the so-called floodgates that Lukas can throw at him. Is he playing any of them, however? He's got a Curse of Dragon Souls, is that correct?
I believe that's the Oasis of Dragon Souls.
Oh, okay.
It's basically another Call of the Haunted, but makes the monster a worm type.
Ali resolving that search, and now could be the time for Mind Crush for Lukas. If he wants to make sure that Nekroz Mirror doesn't really do anything. However, I think he's just going to save it for the
he's
ritual.
going to go Mind Crush. What is he going to say? And there goes the Drishler.
Yeah. No, Ali is resolving the Nekroz Mirror, and once he says, I'm going to ritual summon Trishula, you just use the Mind Crush to foil that plan.
Yep. And it's important to note he's got a Vega there in hand just to make sure that that Mind Crush can actually be played.
Yeah, you need to have a card in your hand. So there's the attack with the Manchu into the set Vega. So far, so good for Ali. Passes play. And Lukas draws into something, sets it, and back to Ali. Now Lukas without cards in his hand, so he found a way to work around Trishula regardless. But this is not his biggest problem here. The biggest problem is, of course, that Nekroz of Clausolas in defense position because of the Jin releaser of rituals. This is Lukas's field. What's your prediction here? What's going to happen next? Is Lukas going to find the Raigeki or any out to suddenly unleash his combos?
It depends how cautiously Ali's going to play this. There is a lot of set cards, but doesn't main Denko.
Yeah, few people seem to do it.
He's got it in the side deck, so it would definitely probably be something that might come in the next game.
Also, other cards that Ali has in his side deck that might be getting introduced in this match. What do you think about the Royal Decree against the Tellarknights? Seems like a pretty good choice.
It's an okay one. It's going to stop you telling over alphas, but breakthrough skill is kind of ridiculous against Tellers. You're stopping all of their summons.
Okay.
Now there's 5 back row there, which in sometimes I say is kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because you're not able to play any spells or trap cards, and most of those are bluffs.
Yeah, and Ali is most likely going to be aware of that. And I think it was another Fiendish chain that Lukas drew into. So both players stalling. It's not quite the big wall of China like yet, but we're getting to that point.
What has he got set face down there? Is it the DD Warrior lady?
Yeah.
I see.
Also, one of the cards that Nekroz is playing just to have an out against the so-called Chinlock. Interestingly enough, Lukas is playing Reinforcement of the Army, of course, with all those Tellarknights that happen to be warriors. Why is he not running the DD Warrior Lady so he can fight against the Chinlock?
It's something that was kind of just introduced for Nekroz. I mean, there's still a lot of costs to get rid of the Jin.
And there Ali holding on to that Mystical Space Typhoon, trying to force through the attack, but the second Fiendish chain from Lukas makes sure his Silent Honor arc cannot do any more damage than it already does. So, to a less trained eye, this might look like Lukas is ahead with so many cards on the field. But he really isn't. Just because of that one card. And also Ali, every turn he gets, he's going to draw into a life card. Because there's nothing on Lukas' side of the field that is really stopping him.
Not at all.
So there is the Senchu of the 1,000 hands. And this is going to cause a chain of searches. And Lukas is not going to like this.
I believe Ali has another Mystical Space Typhoon as well.
And what is this doing to your mental condition when you're playing a game? You know, well, something's on the line.
I mean, what's going to be going through Lucas's mind right now is I need to get a card and I need to stall this.
Yeah,
but
so far so good.
Ali is in such a good position.
And there you have them, the guys. Lukas finds a Thunder King Ryo. Well, something. Can deal a little bit of damage, but at this point, damage not really crucial in this game.
I believe it can also tribute itself to stop a special summon.
Yeah. So he now has a way to fight back against Lucas's options.
Now, there is also still that Mystical Space Typhoon in hand, I believe, unless that was just...
Which one? For Ali?
Oh, it's on the field now.
He used the... Ali used his Mystical Space Typhoon for the first Fiendish Chain.
I believe that face down card is a Mystical Space Typhoon.
Oh, that Ali... Yes.
So Ali actually does have an ability to start attacking.
If he wants to, yes.
If he wants to. But I think he's saving it just in case there's any sort of...
I mean, he
Vanity's Emptiness or any floodgate that he really just wants to get rid of.
Yeah. And Lukas is, of course, playing that card. The limitation of this card changed quite a few things. Quite a few things about the format and how some of the decks are playing. And are you a fan of the limitation of Vanity's Emptiness?
It definitely changed a lot. I mean, it used to be games that we were watching were just stopping as soon as Vanity's Emptiness hit the field, and now it's really, really hard to kind of get Vanity's Emptiness out.
Yeah.
It's making games last a lot longer.
Ali uses a Nekroz of Unicorns, sending it to the graveyard to return a ritual spell card to his hand. I think it was the Cycle. And there is the Nekroz Cycle, speaking of which.
Okay. And he's using it with a shirt to bring out the Trishula.
Wow.
Now, that's the game changer. I do also believe that he would have needed to... Ooh, he's thinking.
But if he gets rid of the Fiendish Chain in the back row, his Silent Honor Arc can just get rid of the Thunder King.
He has the Mystical Space Typhoon.
Oh, okay, yeah. But it looked like he's pointing at the Thunder King.
Yes, he can get rid of Thunder King, which is kind of a threat.
A thing to keep in mind for Thunder King is it doesn't work against any special summon. It only works against special summons that do not...
Oh, is it an inherent summon?
Yes.
I thought it might be.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure whether it was the effect of a card that would special summon also.
Yeah, so the special summon is not allowed to start a chain in other terms. Something like Cyber Dragon, for example, you can stop with a Thunder King. Thunder Dragon. Something like a ritual spell card, which most certainly starts a chain, you can not stop with a Thunder King. So, I think it's not doing much.
Oh, he's just banished the Fiendish Chain as well.
Yeah. So now his Silent Honor Arc is free again, no longer affected by that limiting Fiendish Chain. And that means Ali can pull even further ahead.
Okay, so I believe that was an Altair that's just been banished.
Yes, so Deneb remaining in Lucas's hands.
Which is nice to have a search, but really doesn't help right now.
And Ali is saving the effect of Silent Honor Arc for, well, yet another turn. And why not? Like, seems like the right thing to do here. And even if Lukas were to draw into something like a Raigeki, is it too little too late now, or could he still turn this around?
He could still turn this around very easily. If he gets rid of that field, he's able to play the Deneb. Deneb will be able to search. And and then call the Haunted's free as well. He has an opportunity to turn this around if he had the card to get rid of all the cards on the field.
Okay, but that's what needs to happen.
Yeah,
and fast.
Okay, he's just set a card. I'm not quite sure what that is, as it hasn't updated on our app there.
Well, there's a Deneb.
Looks like it may have been a breakthrough skill. And he fetched an Altair. Breakthrough skill is going to be incredibly useful, especially if he gets that Raigeki.
Yeah, if he makes it to Raigeki, it's going to be useful. So far, I would say not so much. Okay, Ali drew into the preparation of rights. Another card that was hit by the recent limitations.
It does make Nekroz, I would say, far too consistent. It already had a lot of searches, and then giving it 3 more, which also gets stuff back from the graveyard, is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not just flexibility, it's also card advantage. So many tools. And, well, Ali is looking for monster card zones to add yet another monster. It's a very good situation to be in. There's the breakthrough skill.
That's going to stop that search there.
Shutting down the Senju. And Ali reaching for his graveyard again, because he's not quite done yet. He can still go for another search of a ritual spell card with those in the graveyard. So now he finds a reinforcement of the army. And that just means another Tellarknight.
That would be a Deneb, so they can get another search.
But isn't that just...
He's just prolonging it.
Yeah.
Like, he needs to thin his deck out.
To find that one card that can change things for good.
There is one card that really, really messes with Tellarknight. And it's And the Band Played On.
Oh, yes. It had one of the coolest artworks, in my opinion.
Yes. And it also means that your opponent, well, both players cannot special summon monsters with the same level or rank as a monster they already control. Every single monster in the Tellarknight deck is level 4. Yeah.
We have seen that when Rick Cherry was under the spell of, what was the name? A card that reduces all levels by 1. And his entire extra...
Stygian Dirge.
Stygian Dirge, yes. And his entire extra deck was suddenly completely shut down. Yeah, useless. 15 cards, none of them playable.
That's why you run rank 3s, just to make sure.
Yeah.
Nice Zen mains.
All right, so, well, quite the thriller here, even though this song is not going to play much longer, even though the band might be playing on. And Ali is in total control of that game, and he has so much damage on the field. Even though Lukas is still on 6,600, that's going to change very soon, isn't it?
I mean, it's kind of ridiculous at the moment. There is huge advantage. There's a Bryanak. I believe he's then searching with Bryanak. Yep. All the searches. All the time.
Yeah.
Every day. 24/7.
And what role does the time play in such a match? Are you consciously... is it your advantage?
He's giving up.
Oh, okay, yeah. But as you are sitting in Lukas's position, you want to have as much time as possible to turn this thing around, because...
Yes, because you do not want to go to time against the Nekroz deck.
So do you think it would have been even better to scoop like 1 or 2 turns earlier? When you...
Very possible. Very possible. I don't know whether he thought that he might just be able to turn it around, but at that point there was
It already seemed like he was so far behind, yeah.
Now, it's interesting. I've seen some people have started playing Alsam. Yeah, the Tellarknight, that just deals 1,000 damage when it's summoned, as a way against Nekroz.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of people are running Ceasefire.
Yeah.
because Nekroz does usually go to time and can quite significantly mitigate its damage. So people are running Ceasefire just to deal a little bit of damage to make sure that they can win, which is it's a great card against Klee as well, because it's fantastic to watch them summon 5 and then take 2,500 damage.
We have also seen that in a first round feature match when I looked at the deck list that Sona Günger was again playing the Mystic Walk.
Yes.
So when you're expecting to go to time and you're able to sideboard before the next game, this might be the big difference maker.
I mean, if you play Alzheimer's, it's not only being played in Tellers, it's also being sided in Nekroz. So it is very, very good. And if people need to breakthrough skill that, they've wasted a breakthrough skill. And when you're playing Nekroz, you don't really care that much about normal summoning.
Yeah. All right, so Ali somewhat prepared for the event, mostly because he's got a couple of friends that are really good at this game, like Alpa Ingin.
Yeah.
Heard the name before, I think.
Oh, yeah, I think I've heard Alpe.
And Lukas is also tested quite a bit, but he's going with the interesting options of running Tellarknights. If you guys at home are watching this, we are at YCS Bochum, the second major event of the year. This is the third round, getting confused with the numbers here. And speaking of numbers, the interesting thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that it's being used in so many different ways. I know for a fact that there are teachers helping kids to learn mathematics by playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And one other thing, just to segue a little bit on that, it's connecting so many people. And I want to give a shout out to the POCA, the Parents with Older Children with Autism, because I know for a fact that they are watching this stream at the time of this, while this match is going on. And I know that it helps them connect with the kids to watch the stream together, play Yu-Gi-Oh! Together, as far as I'm aware. This one of my friends told me this, and I find that such a great story that it can touch so many people from different backgrounds and at different age groups.
Yeah, yeah. There is there's also a few organisers within the UK that really enjoy working within schools and Yu-Gi-Oh! And using it as a tool to be able to teach children maths, social skills. It's a really, really good game to start making friends, get out there and learn some life lessons. I mean, I've been playing the game since 2004. And
you've been making quite a few friends.
Yeah, I've made quite a lot of friends.
So since you're the organized play partner for the UK, if somebody were to be in a school and say, I want to use Yu-Gi-Oh! To help teach children how to play the game, is there a chance that they can get in touch with you and say, is there any way you can support them somehow?
Yes, if they were wanting to email in and basically just ask to be set up as an organizer, what we would do is we would definitely support anything that they wanted to do.
Okay.
We'd be very, very happy with that.
Right. And if you got a local community and you're not happy with the way the distribution is being handled, in one of the places that doesn't have distribution at the moment, we have seen this in the past. It was an ongoing story in the coverage. We have a couple of guys from Kuwait who traveled to the European events. They now have their own national championship. So they basically, on their own, they were able to make sure that they got organized play.
Just to interrupt there, sorry. We do appear to have a 5-set. Yeah. On turn 1. And he was so annoyed at his hand, he put it down before Michael could actually look at it.
All right. So
playing.
We're going to have those cards for Lukas in just a second.
Ooh.
This is a shared right, I think?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Okay, there's Ali's opening with the Manchu again, just like he did in the first game. However, he had the advantage of his opponent not being able to respond in any way. And he went for the chinlock right away. Second game, different story entirely with that shared ride. And we don't have Lukas's hand in just yet, but as soon as we got, I'm going to show it to you guys. And what else is Ali going to do here? He doesn't want to. He want to limit his searches in this turn, right?
Pretty much. You don't really want to let your opponent draw so much.
Okay, so he just passed play. After that, Manju, and Lukas found a monster.
I believe that's Unical High, which is going to put something into the graveyard there. And he also drew into a Deneb with that shared ride, so easy.
Yeah, it's just a little bit confusing at the moment because half of these cards are actually on the field. The Call of the Haunted, Mind Crush, Soul Charge, not so much. He just drew into that. Now we got it right. There you go.
He has put the Soul Charge down just to bluff there. And he's special summoning the Vega.
Oh,
Vega will special summon Deneb, and he is actually set up to be able to start his big plays.
Yeah, suddenly the Tellarknights are doing what the Tellarknights are supposed to do, unleashing a flurry of special summons, and Ali doesn't have a way to stop it just now. This is very good news for Lukas, also for us, because the match is getting a lot interested this way.
Now, it's actually... Lukas is very, very lucky that that Ali has not drawn into a Denko Sekka.
Yeah.
Because that would have ended the game there and then.
Yeah. But Ali far from being out of options with that hand here.
Okay, so he's only overlaying 2.
Now what is he going to go for here?
That looks like a Bujinti.
Is it? No. And he's drawing
Kazuki, maybe? It's very shiny. I'm just waiting for it to come up on our screen.
Yeah, it's often a little bit easier than trying to make them out. And good news for Lukas. Like this is suddenly looking very promising.
And there's an anti-spell fragrance as well.
Yeah, it's a Bujintai Tsukuyomi.
I thought it may be. It is one of the ones that that tellers do play.
All right, and what is Ali looking at? Like, what does Ali need to draw here?
Mystical Space Typhoon is already in his hand, so he is actually in a really good position to just be able to get rid of the anti-spell fragrance and just carry on, to be honest. So he's still in a very, very good position.
All right, let's look at Ali's hand again. He's starting the Surge Chains. And this time, no shared right. Would have been too good to be true.
No, that would have been very, very good.
Yeah.
Now, what have we got set face down on Lucas's side of the field? And there is a Crush.
Mind Crush is a very good answer.
Yep.
Also, he emptied his hand for that effect of the Tsukuyomi and made sure that he can now work around a possible Trishula.
Now, Chaos Trap Hole is a card I have not seen in a while, so let's just bring that up so we can see exactly what's going to be going on.
Yeah, and Ali passed play after the Senjo, and he's got a Mystical Space Typhoon in his back row, and I think that's a Ritual Spell card as well. So he's setting up for his next turn.
Now, here comes the Soul Charge.
Very costly, that Chaos Trap Hole. Is it worth the investment?
Well, no, it's not all that helpful. It really only does just get rid of Senju and Manju in that deck, because everything is water.
Yeah.
Not quite sure why you wouldn't side that out. Okay,
Well,
so he's paid 3,000.
Yeah, and I was about to say, also with those, with that Soul Charge, it's also kind of costly. You gotta help and wonder. Now, I can't help but wonder, how is Lukas going to find all those life points to pay for these effects? But maybe his plan, wouldn't be surprising, is to just wrap up things before he has to pay for any more effects.
He does have a Trigger Loop set up.
So he's going through his extra deck.
And who is he going to think about here?
Well, let's take a look at his deck list, maybe. He's got a Dweller, a Cowboy, Diamond Direwolf, Castell, of course. Silent Honor Arc, lots and lots of targets.
Tsukuyomi's effect.
Yeah, and sending his hand to the graveyard again, 1 card. In this case, a Breakthrough Skill, which is a great card to have in the graveyard.
Definitely.
And drawing 2 cards. So good,
Okay.
good advantage that Lukas is netting here.
And overlaying into 3, and there's the Driver. Driver is going to return everything to hand.
And with that anti-spell fragrance.
And he's going to use Triver's effect. If Triver's effect hits a Mystical Space Typhoon, Ali is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. That's very powerful play that the Tellarknights have there. So together with that anti-spell fragrance, that makes sure that you cannot activate the cards right away. Ali is in a world of trouble.
reinforcements of the army.
So far, oh, well, the anti-spell fragrance came in from the side deck, and actually the Chaos Trap Hole also has been sided in. So Lukas must have a plan here. Do you think that it's maybe an out, like he doesn't want to lose to the Warrior Lady, getting rid of one of his big monsters?
I still think it's Manju and Senju.
Yeah, so...
It's just another negation for Manju or Senju, definitely.
It wouldn't be a solemn... Well, okay, he's already playing the Solemn Warning.
Senju.
The Solemn Warning is a little bit more flexible.
So Mystical Space Typhoon is still a thing, but it can't be played immediately, of course, because he can, in his draw phase, play Anti-Spell Fragrance.
But you can just chain it.
And chain the other Anti-Spell Fragrance. Because he's ready for this.
And Ali did draw into the second Mystical Space Typhoon. Wow, that's chaining 101 for you guys right there. Wow. Lucky for Ali, he found a second Mystical Space Typhoon to get rid of Lukas's 2 copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance. So Ali can now wreak havoc. Good news for him. And yeah, Lukas is already grabbing his card. He knows that it's not going to hang around for much, much longer. But he's still got the Mind Crush, however.
Yes, he does have a Mind Crush.
So Bryanek being sent to the graveyard.
No.
And I guess Ali would be searching for Trishula if he didn't already hold on to it.
Now, this is in an unfortunate position. He could have done with having the Fiendish Chain set, but obviously that wasn't an option. Mind Crush does help, but not massively currently. And it doesn't look like the Tellarknights have updated in life points there.
Yeah, yeah.
He would have played 1,000, I believe.
There's the Kaleidoscope, and this could be a good time to activate Mind Crush.
Denko Seko is light also.
Oh, okay. You think that...
I thought it was water, but it may very well be light. And sure, it's gone. So, it's Kaleidoscope. So there goes Herald of the Arclight.
Yes, Nekroz of Unicorn.
Now, it's interesting that he summoned that in attack, the Trevor, because Trevor doesn't have a massively large attack.
So you think it would have been better to summon him in defense position?
Yes, he only has 2,100 attack, but 2,500 defense. Unicorn is big enough to deal with him.
So the other cards in Ali's hand, Nekroz of Trishula, Valkyrus, and then Manju of the 10,000 hands. There is the Manju, and slowly but steadily, Lukas is running out of answers. He's got the Chaos Trap Hole.
And he's paid 2,000 there.
And yeah, there are quite a few targets for that card. I think it's a fair sideboard card.
It doesn't look like he's now got any other way of special summoning any other cards from discarding his Unicorn there. He's going to be able to get back one of his other searchers, in this case Corseless.
Right. And as you guys pointed out, of course, the Denko Seka also a good and valid target for that Chaos Trap Hole. And there we go with more ritual summons for Ali. So how's this looking for Lukas now?
He's not in a fantastic position currently. He's got very low life points. and Trishula basically now wins him the game, depending on what happens just here.
There's a Call of the Haunted. And
people can't really see, but Lukas does have cards in hand for...
Yeah, he's got the Fiendish Chain and the Altair. But that's going to change in just a second. And, well, yeah.
Yeah, he's just scooping. There is nothing that he can do there. So, Tellar's kind of getting wrecked.
Yeah, we weren't exactly ending on a high note here, to be honest. There was...
Well, we were for Ali.
Yeah. Good for Ali.
Ali played Nekroz. And Nekroz did what Nekroz do.
Yep. And even with those anti-cards in Lukas's deck, and, well, some interesting decks. Are you a fan of the Chaos Trap Hole now?
Yes and no.
It's like
there are other cards that do pretty much
like you said, Denko Seka could have wrecked him, and it's an answer to Denko Seka.
It is an answer to Denko Seka, yeah.
And it looked quite well when he had the anti-spell fragrance together with that Trigger to do that loop, but the second Mystical Space Typhoon...
the second Mystical Space Typhoon is the thing that wrecked it.
Absolutely crucial for Ali. And this game would have gone extremely differently if that second Mystical Space Typhoon wouldn't have come along. Yeah. So, well, it might look like a one-sided picture, but it really wasn't. It just was that one Mystical Space Typhoon.
Yeah, the one Mystical Space Typhoon stopped the Trigger loop, because you return everything to hand with the Trigger. Trigger goes back to the extra deck. Call the Haunted, brings back all of your monsters. Play another Trigger. Trigger goes back to the extra deck, and you can constantly just loop Trigger.
Do that over and over again. And also, since you are returning your own anti-spell fragrance, you're not affected by the card, whereas your opponent still needs to wait one turn. And, well, he never gets to get that one turn because you just return it to hand. So, very interesting loop, very powerful play. Unfortunately, it didn't quite play out for Lukas as he wanted it to.
Not quite. He didn't really get it game one, and game two, it just got stopped.
What would you be changing about the Tellarknight deck if you were playing this?
To be honest with you, I would attempt the Star Seraphs, but from what I've seen so far, it makes it just a little bit more clunky. What I would actually play is Spell Canceller.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
instead of the anti-spell fragrance? Or together with it?
Together with it, but I would the anti-spell fragrance is inside. I would main a Spell Canceller.
Okay.
Just negates and stops spell cards being activated completely. And because Nekroz don't run anything else, the only out that they got to it is Effect Veiler.
Yes. So
because they can't attack over it either.
Right. So also an interesting tech. We've earlier seen a Vanity's Fiend shutting down Nekroz completely. Spell Canceller, different option. And somebody mentioned playing 6 Samurai only for Naturia Beast, level 5 Synchro Monster.
Yeah.
That can also, like, if you have an out to spell cards, you have an out to Nekroz.
Yeah.
That's what we can
wrap up. That pretty much works that way. And it's an out to Klieg as well. Because as we found out last time, anti-spell fragrance means that you can't play pendulum cards in the pendulum zone.
Yes, that is also quite correct. So quite a good card, in fact.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, you're going to have a very good idea of all those cards that work well against Nekroz, and you can just build a new deck with all those anti-cards.
Yeah, you can play an anti-meta deck, but generally we don't see it towards the end at all, because it gets knocked out by rogue decks.
Right.
Because they build a deck to beat the deck that everybody else is playing, but not everybody is playing that deck.
Right. A different thing you guys brought up, we want to see Paul Cooper, and you have been heard. I tried to have him for this round, however, his opponent's deck list couldn't quite be located, so we didn't know what he would be going up against. And this is hard enough as it stands. We need the deck list to have a little bit more to talk about in between rounds, and also talk to the players after the match, which is what is going to happen now. I'm going to have Ali over here. We're going to talk a little bit about that game. You already saw the interview prior to the match, so you're already familiar where he's coming from. Anything particular you want to know from Ali?
With his Nekroz build, it's very, very similar. There's not really much to say about Nekroz, to be honest with you, that hasn't already been said. I mean, he's got a DD Crow in his side. That's basically the only thing that I've really seen different from the ones that we've seen so far.
Well,
I mean, it's all about the effectiveness of hand traps.
Okay. Well, let's see if Ali disagrees. And next round, possibly Paul Cooper in the feature match if we locate his opponent's deck list. And that's it for now. We're going to go on a short break. Thank you, Rob, very much. We're going to have you back later for round 4 feature match. And in just a second, we're going to be back with Ali.
It's time to duel. It's time to duel. It's time to Now is the time. Now is the time. Hey, why you were pondering the ozone? I'm trying to get into the end zone. You won't be anything without the chips. Your lips are quivering. The time has come. Time to do